I now recognize the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Gonzales, for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, gentlemen, for your service to our great country. I was speaking to some agents that were deployed from Texas to Minnesota, just asking for the ground truth of what was happening. And one of the things that stood out to me is one of the agents said, "Tony, it reminds me a lot of Fallujah." Having someone that served in Fallujah, that caught my attention. And so my question first is to you, Commissioner Scott, is on the safety of our agents. In particular, I see that these task forces work, these anti-gang, these anti-terrorism task forces. But thinking of Fallujah reminds me of we were fighting a war that was the Persian Gulf when the world had changed. And so my question is there a way we can protect our law enforcement, our federal law enforcement agents, in particular through, I've got a bill in particular through bulletproof glass or ballistic windshields. Is that something you think that could help protect the law enforcement officers that are on the front lines?
I think that can help protect the officers on the front lines, but it goes much farther than that because things have changed. So the tactical infrastructure at the border, the bulletproof vests, all of that helps tremendously, but we're fighting a different fight now. The reason you saw so many people surged into LA at one point and then now into Minneapolis was because we had to surge additional resources in to protect the ICE agents that were literally just going to try to make a lawful arrest. So we had to put in two teams. One to do the arrest and another one to deal with the protesters. Luckily, CBP, well, not luckily, unfortunately, CBP's had to build out this capability over the years because we had been dealing with increased protests at the border, mass incursions, so we trained our people how to do crowd control. But let's not miss the fact that we have coordinated, well-funded, and I think insurgencies or terrorist organizations, however you want to call it, literally trying to prevent legal laws from being enforced in the United States. That is a dramatic change. That's why we've had to shift. So we got to figure out how to protect our officers and agents more holistically. On social media, how do we keep them from being doxxed? When somebody goes to, like did to Director Lyons, they follow his kid home and then have protests in his front yard and then put it out live on video. That needs to be a crime. I don't want to violate anybody's right to free speech, but going into your front yard and harassing your family just because you're a law enforcement officer, that should not be a protected action.
The world has changed, and we need to change with it to make sure our federal law enforcement officers and their families are protected. My next question is for Director Lyons. Body cameras have been deployed in Minnesota. I think transparency helps regain public trust. Is there any plan to release any of the footage to the public?
100%, sir. That's one thing that I'm committed to is the full transparency, and I fully welcome body cameras all across the spectrum in all of our law enforcement activities. It is, sir. Body cam footage will be released.
I agree with you completely. Everyone assumes this body camera footage is bad footage. So, in so many cases, it's the exact opposite, and we get a show from the officer's lens what exactly they're dealing with on a daily basis, not just a 15-second clip we see on TikTok or whatever it may be. I'm very pleased to hear the releasing of more public footage. My next question is for you, Commissioner Scott. As a member of Congress, I have a very similar, all of us, the question's really for all of us. As a member of Congress, what can I do to make sure what happened in Minnesota doesn't happen in my community?
Put laws in place that protect our officers and agents so they can go out and do their job confidently and know they really truly have the backing. And then, I got to plug it, actually fund the programs. So when body cameras got rolled out to CBP, the technical capability of the camera got rolled out, but the funding for the personnel to support the programs and the data, that can drain basically all your other operations. So fund the entire program so that we can be transparent and that we can make sure America knows what we're doing, because that trust is critically important.
Thank you for that. My next question is Director Edlow. Too many times we talk about the enforcement side, which I think is very important. We see the millions of criminal aliens that are loose in our country. We got to go out there and keep our community safe. But we need to be talking more about the legal aspect of it, the people that are doing it the right way. I was very encouraged to see 65,000 visas get released not too long ago. The question I have is, what are the details? What is the timeline behind that? What is the purpose of those? Can you specifically speak to the legal visa process?
Well, if you're referring to the 65,000 that were the supplemental
Yes.
H-2Bs.
That's exactly right.
So that's there's 60,000 or 65,000, 66,000, excuse me, that go out every year at 2 times in the year. And then Congress has, for many, many years, given the department the authority through the secretary to increase that based on the needs of the country. So those visas were released. I don't remember exactly
Gentlemen's
when the
time has expired. I apologize. And again, any questions? I know I'm being tight on the rules. We have to be. There's a lot of questions. We want to get through everything today. Any members will be able to submit questions in writing, and you can detail these. Thank you very much.